If your friends were to describe you, what would they say?
Loyal, honest, hardworking, a bit of a wise ass.
When have you been overcome with compassion, and what were the circumstances?
One instance I can think of that comes to mind was a few years ago when I was living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and there was a gentleman who was on the corner every morning. I would drive by him every morning on the way to work. He'd be out there with his sign, and traffic would stop and people would hand him a $5 or whatnot. And I was reading the Bible one day and reading about, whatever you do for the least of these. And he came to mind, and I really felt like God was just saying, you don't even know his name. Like, what do you even care? You don't even know who he is. You don't know his name. I remember getting out, I was really impressed by that and felt the urge to go out and meet him. And so I drove by, and my initial plan was I was going to stop and just yell out to the car, "Hey, dude, what's your name?" But I was always 100 yards back from him, couldn't get close, and so I had to pull over and got out and stopped and walked across the street and shook his hand and asked him what his name was, and his name was Warren. And Warren was out there because he'd been laid off and he had good insurance, but his wife was sick and he got laid off, and he was just trying to do what he could. And I don't know, it really hit me for the first time that he was a person. We drive by these people on the street all the time, and they're people. They're people. We see them as obstacles. We see them as nuisances. We see them as anything and everything except for people, but his name was Warren, And then as far as my own situation, my wife was pregnant with our 4th kid, and I lost my job and I lost my business in about 2 weeks of each other. And over the course of that time, we didn't really have a way to pay the bills, and the folks in our church, envelopes kept showing up. Unmarked envelopes, just with cash and money orders we couldn't explain. But there was this one couple, and he would kill me if I said what his name was. So I'm going to wait until after he dies to actually say who it was. But there was this one elderly couple that kind of looked like Santa Claus, and Christmas time, he knew that we couldn't afford presents for our kids. We get a knock on the door, and he and his wife are there with 3 trash bags full of toys that they had just bought at Toys R Us for our kiddos, so that our kids could have Christmas. And I'll never forget that. There's a song that Trans-Siberian Orchestra recorded on their first album called Old City Bar. And it has a line in it that says, if you want to arrange it, this world you can change it. If we could somehow make this Christmas thing last by helping a neighbor or even a stranger, and to know who needs help, you need only just ask. And I discovered that song in that same time period, and it always makes me think of this one pseudo-anonymous Santa Claus.
If you could leave any wisdom with the world, what would it be?
For all of their faults and all their flaws, people are still just people. It's hard to be as ugly to people when you're next to them as it is when they're across the internet or when they're targets of the media or whatnot. But they're still just people. They hurt, they feel, they love, they laugh. They're people, And I think sometimes in our culture right now we treat people like objects. They become objects for our humor. They become the memes that we laugh at endlessly, or the jokes that we tell. And I think that if the world would just learn to see people as people, I think we would all do better.